Hey friends, hope you're doing well out there. I um I go to the Goodwill store a lot, not because of my clothes. 'Cause I know that's probably what you're thinking. You're like, yeah, we know, John. We see how you dress. It's not just for clothes. I go there for books, and every once in a while I find really cool things, and then I have a storage unit that I store my books in because right now I'm not in a big enough place to have my own private library, which I will have very soon. But so I get these books, and sometimes I find like really cool things. So this first one that I'm going to show you, it's kind of funny. I thought I didn't get it at first. Some people who know the Onion, it's a very uh, fake magazine. It just has a lot of humorous things on it. And I got this for Goodwill for I think I got this for $2. All of these are pretty much $2. This is a hardcover, which is a really cool book, and it's a funny thing. And it says here the Onion Book of Knowledge of Known Knowledge. It's like the Onion Book of Known Knowledge, a definitive encyclopedia of existing information in 27 excruciating volumes. And then it has a whole bunch of stories about famous people and famous events in history and stuff, but they're all humorous. They're all jokes. They're not real. But it makes it seem like it actually is a real thing. It's very funny. Um, so I got that one for a few bucks. Then I got this one, which I think I'm gonna use the content on this on my show, because I do a show where I talk a lot about music and film and whatnot. And I thought this is it says new Rolling Stone, but this is actually about 30 years old. This one was from I think it's 1995, I believe. And I like books that are older because they haven't been, how should I say? This is copyright 1983, so I was off by over a decade. Um, so this is actually great because it hasn't been perverted yet with the ideologies that are out there, and so the older the books, the better. They're usually cleaner. If you can get a book older than 30 to 40 years, you're in good shape. And if it's 60 years, forget it. You got yourself a really good book. Anyway, this is actually the encyclopedia, the Rolling Stone Encyclopedia Rock and Roll of Rock and Roll. And inside, you can literally just open the page to anywhere. Boom. And here we have Heavy D and the Boys. Do you remember the Fat Boys? Heavy D and the Boys. They had no, Heavy D and the Boys, not the Fat Boys. The Fat Boys was another group, but Heavy D and the Boys, it's another group. I think he passed away, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, you can pretty much open up to any chapter. I know a lot of artists, so I'll know a lot of these, but the James Gang, that's of course with the James Gang with Joe Walsh, who from the Eagles played the solo, half the solo of Hotel California, right? Ray Charles. So anyway, it kind of looks like this. It's literally an encyclopedia, and you can. And I got this for. This is a soft cover book. I think I got this for like $1. Maybe this was $2 and the hardbook cover was maybe $3 or something like that. But very cool stuff. There's that Bob Seger right there. And so I'm going to be using this for my show because I thought, we're going to talk about this artist, Depeche Mode. I love Depeche Mode. Natalie Cole, Nat King Cole's daughter. I mean, just Peter Case, the Carter family. So it's all these artists that are really kind of, some of them are known, some of them are not well known. And I like to showcase artists that are not as well known sometimes, and we kind of have a good time with that. And then I found this little book here. It's the Civil War in Pictures. So back in the day, during the Civil War, there was no photos. I think photography was sort of like an experimental thing, and there were a few people across the country kind of like testing different ideas of how to project things onto a film, but it hasn't been established well enough where you can go out and do photos of what's happening, especially during the Civil War. It's a war happening. So what they did was they had these drawings from these illustrators that would go out into the war, and at the end of the day, they would actually get an image in their head, and they would illustrate these, and they would send them in to newspapers. And the drawing boards were basically the newspaper, the Civil War in pictures in the newspaper. And so all of these photos that I have here are all actual drawings from artists, illustrators, and there were also writers, so they wrote with their piece. So they would actually sketch out the whole thing, and then they would send it in with all writing. And it was a magazine called Harper's, which, believe it or not, was out back then. It's still out today. Harper's is a very well-known, very established. I don't know exactly how they've survived the recent 15 years of battles through ideologies and through different things that come up, but it's still around, that magazine. So these are some of the images that you get to see in this little book. Now this book is from 1955. I got this book for I think $3, and it's a hardcover book, and the pages are pretty good for it being a book that's 55 years. That's 61 years old. The pages are actually pretty good. Usually you get a book they're really yellow and very you get an old book, they're yellow and pretty much, here's a major General Ulysses Grant, S. Grant, and there's a drawing that someone did of him. And so these are the best accounts that we have of what went on in the Civil War from people who were actually on the field. These men were not even fighters, they were like out there literally just documenting what was happening in the war. And the first picture is probably the most important one because it's the first photo that kind of started the war, and this is it right here. It's the first one that was sent in to Harper's, and the war has now begun in earnest. And that's how it starts. The war has now begun in earnest. And that was the first photo that they sent in. And so I think Goodwill, if you go there, take a look at the book section. You find some treasures there. I have some encyclopedias from like 60 years ago. I have some amazing books, very, very detailed. Not necessarily encyclopedias, but they're sort of like encyclopedias, dictionaries combined together, and I have a volume of those that I found and I got for $6, and it was the best deal you can get. So I encourage everyone to go out to Goodwill and to check out some of these treasures that are out there, and then let me know what you find, because I'm always curious to see what people find, and it's always a cool thing. All right, friends, talk to you soon. Peace.